Reptil, issue number 3. I forgot this was a 4-issue miniseries. I thought we at least had another issue after number 4, but I guess it's only 4 issues, so this is the 3/4 point of the book, the penultimate issue. And I like the book. You know, I love the first 2 issues. They're just really fun stuff. I think this one was really cute. This was a little more, I think, going in the direction of, like, childish. And I don't mean that as a negative at all. I don't think that's a bad thing. Because the character turns into dinosaurs, get a little campy with it, make it a little more child-friendly. I think that's completely fine. But I will say, out of every issue in this book, this one I liked the least. We get a couple of interesting revelations that I predicted in the last issue. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, I knew this was happening. So I'm not, like, turned away by it. I'm just experiencing it earlier than the book because I knew it was coming. It's alright. So, last issue, Reptil went full crazy, went full dino. He's attacking Ava and Julian. We see that the old hag hits him with, like, some spell that turns him back into his human self. They drag him through a portal and get him out there. And then we see Umberto is just kind of, like, down for the count. Like, he's literally just, I'm done. I'm lying in bed. I almost got you guys killed. I didn't get any of the answers I wanted. Nothing went right for me. We see that Julian's telling Ava, can you just, like, leave the room for a sec? Because I got to talk to Umberto alone and get him back on his feet. So, this is a real... I like this one a lot. Julian's a great character, and he's kind of, like, explaining some stuff to Umberto so he learns a few things. Like, you know, when I came out to my parents and pretty much just came out altogether, people were lost. I felt lost. Like, I wasn't in control of everything, and it was all spiraling around. And when it came time to, like, get things together and, like, figure out what my next steps were for, like, me and my mom figuring out what she wanted to do, that is when your parents went missing. And then because of that, my mom wanted to spend more time with me, so we went to therapy to figure out how we feel if all these emotions are feeling. Like, who are we supposed to be? There's this certain there's a certain energy that a Mexican male is supposed to have, and I don't have that, and I want to figure out, and my family wants to figure out how we have that. Family is a big theme of this book. Not a surprise there. We're focusing on those things. So basically, you know, just Julian's trying to say to him, you know, we're not what our bodies are, we're the inside of our bodies. What we think is what we are, not who we are on the outside. Which is a nice statement, it's kind of cute. Gets Umberto out of his spell, so the team's going to head out on a mission, and they're going to go figure out what this Henry Desjardins doing with all of this stuff related to reptiles. So we see that Julian brings his fencing sword. They're going to sneak out, say they're going to the movies. They're going to take the train, hop down to they're just going to this big mansion. I love that they just get there somehow and they're outside of it, so they're going to break inside. Reptile's turning into a couple different dinosaurs so they get over the fence. And when they get inside, they break into one of the windows. He uses like a sharp claw to get inside. They see like this office space that's full of like artifacts and pictures of Reptil and his parents. And we're like, okay, what's going on here? How are we connecting this all back to Reptil? Julian finds like this one gauntlet that the man who in the first issue attacked them, he was wearing it. So when he puts it on, he smacks like a button on top of it and it turns him into Henry Desjardins. So maybe the person who's in this house is not actually Henry Desjardins. And then we see who it is. It's the guy from the first issue. And okay, I'm going to spoil it right now because I said this in the last issue, what my theories were on this. It turns out I was right, that this new villain we're introducing, who is posing as Henry Desjardins, is the son of the hag in the Dino world. I kind of thought it because we set up like her son was evil and he couldn't possess the power. The amulet was rightfully his. Like, yeah, so he's going to be the bad guy. Makes sense. I thought that was kind of cool. So we use like Ava's magic to freeze him in place to get a couple answers. We realize that he has the real Henry Desjardins locked up. He doesn't know where his parents are still. We learned that what did they name the old caveman dude? The old caveman guy has the soul, the spirits of Reptil's parents with him at all times because it's kind of like imbued in the amulet. And hearing this, like, it's kind of like they're dead and they'll never be able to come back. And hearing that just makes Reptil lash out and he starts to attack the caveman guy. So we get another nice fight scene. Like, I get this. It's really cool. I think this should be a cartoon. A Reptil cartoon would be really cool to see. Maybe since Marvel Studios is making that new branch of animation, this could be something they should look into. Because this is really cool. So, they're fighting. It's looking great. We see that Ava's out of magic. Her and Julian kind of get kicked down. And Reptil's like, well, I want to save my parents. And maybe getting his amulet will allow me to figure out what's up with my parents, but I got to get you guys out of here first. So they kind of like just power up, get out of there before anything bad really happens. And I think it's kind of cool. It's very much a simple book, but that's not a bad thing. Like, you don't have to, like, break the mold when it comes to a Reptil comic. You just have to have stuff vaguely prehistoric, vaguely fossil, just paleontology, that kind of shit. You just have to play with those elements, and then you got something cool on your hands. So I like it. The caveman dude wants the half of the amulet so he can have all the power in the world. We see that Ava and Julian kind of beat him up a little bit. Reptil flies him out of there. And when they get back home, Umberto just passes out, and he's like, oh, something bad happened to him. And the parents, well, the parents of Ava and Julian are watching, and then their grandfather's like, oh, shit, bad stuff is afoot at the Circle K, everyone. And I'm like, this is kind of fun. It's not as, like, dramatic or, like, riveting as some of the other issues. It's very action-heavy. The action looks decent. The artwork feels very choppy at times, which I feel... I get it because it's the style, but there's certainly more detail in certain panels and spots than there is in other ones. But where they go hard, it goes hard. And the book itself doesn't look too bad. I'm just glad Reptil's getting this chance because he's a cool enough character where he can lead his own book. And I think something like this is exactly what he needed. So it's just like reevaluating him, putting him back into the world and the mythos, keeping him separate from like some other characters, but it's still pretty cool to see. Solid book. We figured out the reveal. I guessed it last issue. I'm very excited to see where it's going to go. So we've been teasing this Pride Festival that's coming up. I'm assuming we're going to have like our final showdown at that Pride Festival, which could be really fun to see. I like this book. It's enjoyable. This issue, not the perfect issue, but it's enjoyable enough where I'm like, I'd give this to my kid. I'd give this to anybody under the age of 12. I think they'd really enjoy it. So, Reptil, issue number 3, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.